What up, Scoobs? Dre here.
Alex here.
And today, you've all been asking for it. We are doing our official review for Marvel's Black Panther.
Yes! Oh my god.
It's happening.
It's been a long time coming.
Burn away, burn away, burn away, burn away. Africa. All right. Now, we're going to start off with our general thoughts of the movie before we go into spoilers. Keller, tell the Scoobs what you thought.
Unbelievable. Absolutely amazing. It gave me all of the feels. It was beautiful. The storyline was, I don't even know where to start really with this.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
Made me feel like I really need to get my ass to Africa.
I know, right? Like it did fill you with a certain amount of black pride, where you're like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? But yeah, like first of all, I'll start off with the cast. As we all know, Chadwick Boseman starred as Black Panther. You had Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker. I forget the brother's name, but from Get Out, he was amazing in the movie.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Michonne from The Walking Dead, Diana Guerrera. I love the fact that, you know, people were saying that, you know, it's obviously a black movie, but to me it transcended that, where to me it was just a movie about a culture, a society of people, and I feel as though they really immersed you into that society. Yeah,
what we were talking about earlier is that I thought with the trailers that it was going to be kind of like we were getting like peaks of Wakanda, but it was going to be them kind of going around the world, globetrotting, fighting
a lot of time
for the
in the
greater
US,
good.
probably,
yes, a lot of time. And so the fact that it was really just a movie centered on Wakanda, I love that because we really got to know the culture, the people.
Yeah.
And it just was this really magical land that, you know, we haven't seen before. So I was excited that we got to actually focus the movie on Wakanda.
Exactly. And I felt as though I could really understand, even though it's sort of like a fantastical kingdom, I felt as though I understood the interactions and dynamic of this world, where like a lot of times in movies, something like Thor, if you will, and they show you Asgard, like Asgard, like I feel like you don't really necessarily get a full sense of the world. You don't know necessarily all their traditions and their politics, and you know, like they really don't go into like things like the Odin sleep. So if you're a fan of the comic books, you know the more of the backstory. But in the movies, they never really sort of showed you what it means to live on Asgard. With Black Panther, it's pretty much like a idiot's guide to Wakanda. This fictional nation, by the end of this movie, you feel as though you understand how their lineage works. Everything from Bast, the Panther God, as we talked about before, what it means to challenge the king for his throne, what it means to basically be from Wakanda, but also be separated from the world.
Also, like, they did such a great job of showing you, like, the importance of the rituals, but also, like, the dichotomy between the rituals and the technology. And, like, some people are, like, not so into the rituals anymore, like Shuri, but, like, then there's the very traditionalist, but you also got, like, the reason behind the rituals, which I thought was good. And
yeah, great point. Like, they don't just show you rituals for ritual's sake. Anything they show you in this movie, everything has a reason behind it. Another thing that I really wanted to focus on, because just watching this film, I've already seen it 2 times, probably going for a third. No, I'm definitely going for a third. But was the visual aesthetic of the movies. Again, the colors, everything was so bright, tribal inspired, like the African prints and designs. That scene where T'Challa is doing his first warrior battle to prove that he should be king. Everyone's standing on that waterfall mountain. You saw all of their beautiful, like brightly colored gowns.
Yeah, and the jewelry. And, like the body painting and everything. Like it was just really, really beautiful. And also like it just gave you that like Black African American pride, you know?
You felt good. You felt real good.
And also, like, people at the theater came out.
Oh, they came out. We got to talk about that real quick. Like, you know, the movie aside, like, I saw this twice already. Every theater I went to looked like a giant cosplay for Coming to America. Yes. People were wearing, like, James Earl Jones, like, lion robes.
Like, traditional African garb. There's this woman sitting beside me. She had the hat and everything. And I was like, yes.
So I love all the pride and hopefulness this is bringing out in particular group of people, but in general, it's not a movie, again, obviously just for Black people. Like, anyone can relate to this story. It's basically a story about, ultimately, inclusiveness, togetherness, and how you should basically use your resources to help people out who maybe don't have the means that you do.
Exactly. It's kind of like a traditional wealthy versus the poor storyline.
Absolutely.
So, and that, like, trying to not be so isolationist and showing that we all need to work together to, like, bring each other up.
Yeah, like, we'll get more into that in the spoilers, because there's so many lines lines in this movie that I just want to like quote and dive into. But before we jump onto our general review, again, obviously loved it. Go see this movie. The villain was great. Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. You understand where he's coming from. There are a few turns and twists.
But we can't get into that without.
You're right. Okay, yeah, we're gonna jump into spoilers. So before we do, watch Black Panther. See it. It's beautiful. It's well written, tight script, well acted. Has like every prominent Oscar nominated or Oscar winning black actor working out there right now, minus like Denzel in this movie. Highly suggested. Any final thoughts on the general?
You just need to go see it because we're about to get into the spoilers. So go see it and then come back and watch the rest
All right,
of this.
here we come. Spoilers! All right, so first of all, I'm going to kick off with it. The movie kicks off with, we find out, I love the theme of this movie because like it shows you that not all good guys are good, not all bad guys are bad. Because the opening scene, we find out later on throughout the course of the film that it was King T'Chaka who actually killed his own brother. The reason why he killed him is because his brother was stealing resources from Wakanda, vibranium, but why he was stealing it was to sell in the black market.
Yeah, he wanted to help his fellow brothers and sisters.
That's it. He wanted to help the black community, and he's like, you guys aren't doing anything. So basically, he got murdered for being altruistic.
Right, and so like in the beginning, whenever T'Challa goes into the spirit world and he sees his father, and his father says, "You're a good man. It's hard to be a good king. It's like a good man."
Yeah.
I was wondering why he said that, and then like you find out later that like he wasn't this great like pure man that everyone thought that he was.
Yeah.
Right, like he killed his own brother. He left one of their own behind.
He left the kid to be orphaned and raised.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting because it gave us like that good versus evil, like what is good.
Absolutely. Beyond that, again, the Killmonger was the main villain. We found out he was left and abandoned as a child. He grows up, and again, jumping into the villain's origins or motivations real quick. Again, we talked about in our non-spoiler part, like you understood his motivations.
Yes.
Killmonger's whole thing ultimately is he basically wants to eradicate injustice and poverty by committing a giant genocide.
But what I love about this movie is that this is like for the first time in a long time where I really felt like I sympathized with the villain, and I was like torn. I didn't know, do I side with Killmonger? Because I kind of believe like Wakanda, you've been sitting up there on your high thrones with all your wealth, not helping anyone.
I love that line when he comes to the throne and he, like Michael B. Jordan, full of like all that anger and aggression, like basically says like he gets real, speaks some truth,
like,
and then you guys been sitting out here on your golden thrones. Meanwhile, there's 2 billion people. I love that line. There's 2 billion people around the world that look just like y'all, and they're suffering, starving, dying, being shot, beaten, killed. I was like, hell yeah!
I agreed with him, and then at first I was like, maybe I kind of was siding with the villain here, but then he did get a little too evil.
He got a little too.
But I
chilly.
understood where it came from. You know? And I was really sad to see him go. Huge spoiler.
That was an awesome, but yeah, we're full of spoilers now. That was a great part where basically, because just the way scripts break down, you have to have the mid-break point where the hero and villain meet each other and the hero loses. They did this beautifully in this movie where there's a challenge to ritual in the beginning to challenge for the king's throne. M'Baku, the man ape from the comic books, challenges him. He loses, but when they get to that second one, Creed style, Michael B. Jordan whoops that ass.
And this is something I'll also say. I was kind of shocked. Like, I really thought T'Challa was going to be stronger. I mean, I know he doesn't have the strength of the Black Panther when he does these fights, but I thought, like, they don't have the strength of the Black Panther, and it's supposed to be the king, so I was kind of thinking, like, this is the guy you choose to protect you. Like, what? Like,
and, like, the whole, like, all that trash talking he's doing as he's whooping his ass. Like, is this your, like, I'm telling you, I was hyped. Like, is this your king? Is it like Mike Chadwick's like crawling on the ground, bleeding, all beat up? He's like, this is the guy you chose to protect you?
I was like, shit, T'Challa.
I mean,
you're getting your ass handed to you right now.
He kind of had a point.
And also, Killmonger looked good.
I mean, well, okay. That's...
When he took his shirt off, I was like, okay.
All right. Yeah, that's for her. That one's for her. Yeah. Well, that reminds me, speaking of looking good, the Dora Milaje.
Oh, my God.
Lupita Nyong'o, you get her motivations when we first meet her. She's posing as a spy in Nigeria to help, like, free refugees and people who are being sold into, like, sex trafficking and slavery.
Yeah, she kind of has the same mindset of Killmonger, where they should be using their resources to help people.
But she's not nearly as killy as Killmonger.
Her heart and mind is in a good, safe place because she was raised in a beautiful the beautiful Wakanda.
Exactly.
Not bitter.
Diana Guerrera, Michonne from The Walking Dead. I mean, I didn't think I would say this about a non-superhero character. She became one of my favorite characters in all of the MCU.
Oh, absolutely. Her with that spear.
Come on.
She was fierce. And then obviously I love the scene of her when they're going to, like, they're in China?
Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Korea.
They're in Korea. And they're going into, like, the underground casino, and she has the wig on, and she's like, I look ridiculous. You know, like, they're affirming that natural hair is beautiful.
Yeah, because it's a thing, especially like in the African American culture, where especially women feel as though they need to straighten their hair or, you know, get extensions or, you know, have that whole Beyonce look. Where I love the fact that you had dark skin, strong, prideful African women. As a warrior, she was amazing. I love that scene with Claw that they kept showing in the trailers, you know, where she used her spear to catch herself the exploding car. That was amazing.
And then, like, towards the end, whenever, you know, they're split between T'Challa and Killmonger, and they're fighting the
because the factions of Wakanda are, like, split in half. Yeah, and, like, Black Panther's friend from Get Out sides with Killmonger.
Right, and so... she's like, they come face to face, and he's like, "Are you ready to kill me, my love?" And she says, and you look at the look on her face, and she's like, "For Wakanda."
Yes.
And then he bends the knee.
He bends the knee to his woman, and Alex brought that up before we started shooting. As far as this is a very sort of like pro-female movie as well, because like all the men that are in this movie, like, you know, take nothing away from them, but it's almost like they sort of followed the lead of the women in their lives.
And what I love is that these women are powerful and strong, and it doesn't take away from the power of the men.
No.
The men don't feel threatened, they don't feel insecure. They're just like, we know that we have strong, beautiful women by our side.
And they're proud to have a strong woman by their side.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I love that this movie did not focus on a love story.
Great point.
Because, you know, during it, like a lot of these kind of, like Guardians of the Galaxy, we say it focuses on Star-Lord and Gamora's relationship
Thor with Jane Foster, who, like, Natalie Portman's character wasn't even that good in that movie. But yeah, like, they made that very much a love story.
Right, and so, like, during this, like, I kind of forgot the whole love thing between them because, like, that wasn't the main plot. And then at the end, when they kissed, I was like, oh, that was a nice addition. It wasn't like something I was pining for, like kiss. Like I wasn't even thinking of that. So it was just like a nice, refreshing addition that like, yeah, there's like this little love side plot, but it wasn't the main story because the women in this movie, their stories were so much more important than just being like the love interest of the men.
Preach, Keller. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did an Andre rant there, but.
All good. You had Angela Bassett, this strong, powerful, regal queen. Of course, if Angela Bassett's playing the queen, she's always going to be strong, powerful, and regal. But then, literally, my favorite character in the whole movie, hands down, was his sister Shuri. I mean...
Oh my God.
I loved her. Like, for those of you Scoops who don't know, I've got 3 sisters at home. Love them all dearly. And... like the relationship between T'Challa and Shuri, like it spoke so true to me. Like little things where she's like, my king, and he's like, stop it, and he's like, oh, you're wearing sandals. Like that's how I interact with. They always busting my balls and vice versa.
I thought of you because you always tell me stories about your sisters, and I thought of you when she was like, but the real question are, what are those? Like, everyone in the theater was like cracking up, and it just totally made me think of something that like a story you would tell me with your sister, just like ragging on you.
My sister Reese would 100%. Like, I can imagine her saying that in that exact inflection. Like, what are you wearing? Agent, what's his name?
Everett Ross.
Everett Ross. Thank you. I love how they fit in his story from continuing from Civil War. And in the comic books, he's actually a liaison to Wakanda. So I'm glad he didn't die. We're in full spoilers. He lives in the end. We also mentioned they bring back Claw from Age of Ultron because they set that up like a couple years ago. Now, in the comic books, Claw plays more of a bigger role in the Black Panther story. He's actually the one who does kill Black Panther's father, and like he's his main nemesis. They're like, forget all that. No, they're like, his cousin is his main arch nemesis, Michael B. Jordan. Yeah,
I was actually surprised that Claw was killed off so early.
So was I.
I thought he was gonna be like a real villain here.
Yeah.
And I know we're just talking about Shuri, but I wanted to go back to her real quick because I wanted to touch on the fact that she kind of represents women in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a field that a lot of women don't get into because, you know, as little girls, we're like, oh, you play with dolls and Barbies. Like, you don't play with building blocks. So I think that that's really inspiring and it's gonna like a lot of little girls are gonna look up to that, and even boys. And
hey,
think,
boys,
hey,
yeah.
like we can get into this, and it's gonna get people excited about science and math because it was this little girl, Shuri, was running the entire technological landscape
of the entire country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's really exciting.
And I love the fact at the end of the movie where T'Challa, basically his whole solution to saving the world isn't like, I'm going to put on a costume and like punch people in the face. He's like, I brought this building and this building and this building. And Shuri's pretty much like, why? It's pretty much like a crap hole because they go back to, where were they? Oakland. She's like, why did you do that? He's like, because we're going to start a science center and you're going to be the head of it.
Yeah, they went back to where Killmonger grew up.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to start the problem from the bottom.
Yes.
Like, and we're going to start with the kids that are the future, and we're going to teach them. And like, I thought that was really great too. I loved that.
So did I. And my favorite line in the movie, after you have the whole Black Panther versus evil Black Panther, Killmonger puts on the gold Jaguar costume, and they're fighting through, you know, the vibranium monorail system. T'Challa wins, obviously. He stabs him in the heart with a spear, but as he's dying, he takes him up to see the Wakandan sunset.
Yeah, that was... I loved that.
How
of
good
T'Challa.
was that?
Yeah, it was like, it really showed his like human side, his heart, to be able to be like, I want you to see this beautiful sunset.
Absolutely. Before he died, because Killmonger's like, my dad always told me that Wakanda is the most beautiful place in the world. Imagine a kid from Compton believing in fairy tales. I'm like, not Compton, Oakland, but I'm like,
It's pulled on the heartstrings.
Yes,
so
it got
much.
me.
I cried.
It got me. And then the thing that really hit me, like this was like my favorite line of the movie where like I felt it in my gut where Black Panther, because they have advanced technology, he's like, well, we can probably still save you. Let's get you down to the lab. And then Killmonger is like, why? So you can put me in a cage? He's like, just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped off the side of the ship because even they knew that death was better than bondage. And I did not expect Marvel to go that deep on slavery. That's a referendum on slavery in a Marvel movie.
I was like, they went there.
They went there.
And it was just, everyone in the theater, like, it kind of was like a hush.
It was.
Like,
people listened to that moment.
Like, chills. It was just, because, you know, you don't expect that from a superhero movie. Like, yes, there's always a political commentary.
Sure.
But they went deep. I respect them so much for that.
So do I. So we're going to start to wrap up. I feel like we've gone through a lot of stuff that we wanted to, like, really get off our chest. But I do want to say real quick, near the end of the movie, where you have Wakanda sort of split in half and two factions fighting, M'Baku and his guerrilla tribe at the last minute show up to help out T'Challa.
It was a classic Battle of the Bastards.
It was so good. Yes, it reminded me of like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead or something, like where King Ezekiel shows up and it's like, Alexandra, we're not fall on this day. But yeah, he shows up to help out, which that's going to play a big part rolling into Infinity War, because as we saw in some of the trailers, M'Baku and his guerrilla tribe are going to be helping out T'Challa fight off Thanos and his forces. Very cool stuff.
Also, I want to add the post-credit scene.
Come on.
I just love the post-credit scene where you have T'Challa at like the UN.
Yeah, I love that. Yes.
And I feel like it was a real glimpse into like what we're gonna see to come with Black Panther, because they're like, what does a country of farmers gonna offer the world?
Love that, because like all sort of like the old white politicians were sort of sneak around him.
Yeah, the whole room was white.
The whole room, because T'Challa's like, we're gonna share our resources with the rest of the world, and they're like, what can a country of farmers do for us?
And then you see Agent Everett Ross in the back, like, huh? And then T'Challa, like, I was hoping they were gonna do something, like he was gonna just be like, and
I thought he was gonna put on his costume. I thought his costume would fall around him.
But they don't. They don't. They like leave us wanting more, for sure, because he just does that smirk, like.
They played it perfectly. Yeah, that smile is like, okay, all right, you want to throw shade now, but you'll see. Yeah.
So I am super excited to see them in Infinity War, and then like with the more Black Panther movies
and then
to come.
Second post-credit scene after the movie where like the African children are messing with this guy we can't see, and she's like, are you bothering that poor man again? And then like they call him the White Wolf. Bucky comes out, and we know he's gonna be a big part in Infinity War, but it seems like Shuri, again, the genius she is, seems like she got all that programming out of his head.
Oh yeah,
all that conditioning. Sure. Yeah, he's not crazy anymore. And she's like, you have much to learn. So
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited
to
for
see
that.
him grow.
And I'm like, I wonder if there's gonna be a little romance there. I wonder if Bucky is like down with the Brown. He's like, okay, Okay.
Oh.
I'm just,
that's where your head went.
I'm just saying, like, normally that's your thing,
Yeah.
but I got a little, like, because it was even more so Shuri. It looked like she was, like, looking him up and down. It's like, come on, white boy. And that's the other, like, early in the movie where, like, Everett Ross gets shot and they bring him to Wakanda.
We're going to have an interracial couple in Wakanda.
Wait, that's what I'm saying. And I love that line earlier. Like, this is a nod or sort of a foreshadowing to the end credit scene where they bring Everett Ross there with the bullet hole in his spine. And she's like, oh, great, you brought me another white boy to fix.
Oh.
That was a line directly tied to Bucky that they actually paid off.
That makes so much sense.
Right? Yeah.
Good catch.
So I'm glad that they threw that in there. All in all, like we said, we love this movie. Go see it. If you haven't, what are you doing watching this? And if you watched this before you saw it, go out and see it now.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
I love Black Panther. I'm still super hype on it. I think I'm going to go to the theater and see it again.
I think we have to. I mean, it's imperative that I see this at least one more time. Well, thanks, Scoobs. You've been asking for it, and thank you for asking for it.
Yes.
But obviously, we're going to give it to you one way or another. But this is our review for Black Panther.
Woo! Sorry, I know it's a long one, but I just had a lot to say.
We had a lot to say.
You know we were looking forward to this for a very long time.
Stick with it. I'm sure that you'll get, some cultural fulfillment after watching the whole review. But as always, make sure to like, subscribe. Hey! Hit that bell for alerts of new videos.
And make sure to share with all of your friends and also leave us your comments. We love to hear from you. I want to know what you guys thought about the movie. So
100%.
Make sure you tell us in the comments.
Please, we genuinely want to know how you guys felt about this movie. Did it live up to your expectations? Was it overhyped to you? Whatever you felt, please leave it down below. All right. Well, until next time, I've been Andre.
And I'm Alex.
Stay groovy, Scoobies.